Okay, welcome guys to our first episode of Armchair Quarterbacks Mile High Edition. I am Michael Worth.
Well, I'm Nick Duran.
Very nice, guys. For everybody watching us, which might not be too many today, but you'll know one day. What are we doing, Nick?
So the whole concept for our podcast is just to kind of talk through Denver sports. We're two guys who just love everything Colorado sports and feel that the mainstream media and ESPN and Fox Sports don't give us enough credit or coverage. And so we thought, what the heck, we're going to get on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and figure out how can we talk through what's going on in the great world of sports in Denver.
Exactly. I'm tired of LeBron James. I'm tired of the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm tired of the New York Knicks. I mean, has the New York Knicks even won a game in the last 2 years?
I can't remember the last time I heard anything positive about the New York Knicks, but the problem is that we still hear about the New York Knicks.
Yep, exactly. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk all Mile High sports, all Denver sports. This is the place where we're going to go to just be fans, be coaches, be GMs, be whatever we want to be, and sit in our chairs.
Exactly. So kicking it off, Mike, you're my Nuggets guru. I come to you for anything Nuggets related. Kind of what are your initial thoughts so far this season? How are they looking? What would, give me some background. How do you feel?
It's been a rough start to the season. It's been depressing a little bit because, we got excited in the bubble. We saw what this young Nuggets team could be, and they're just not doing what they need to do. Pretty much everybody but Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is MVP material in the prime of his career, and it seems like we're wasting that.
Yeah, I mean, 27 points a game, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, top 4, top 5 in every category. He's carrying the load most often, but, he's lacking some support. Jamal Murray is, in my opinion, extremely inconsistent. Michael Porter Jr. is still a big question mark for me. And so it's just it's to your point, like it's I think it's a little frustrating so far this season.
Yeah, so with Jamal Murray, I mean, he drives me nuts, man. I think I've never seen a player who the best version of that player can be the best player in the league. Like, I've never seen somebody shoot so lights out on games where he's on fire. Just the other day, he was the first player to score 50 points in a game without shooting a free throw. It was like something like...
And what did he go, like 21 or 25 or 22, 26,
yeah,
something like that?
10 from 3. He had 20 points in the paint, 20 points from 3. It's insane. I mean, but then on other nights, he's 2 of 12, and he scores 7 points. I mean, there's got to be somewhere in the middle where his bad games are 17 points on 40% shooting, and his good games, whatever, they don't need to be 50 points, but, like, somewhere in the middle of there, his bad games have to be a lot higher. His floor is way too low.
What pieces do you think are missing?
Honestly, we did this offseason, in my opinion, way wrong. We went after guards. We have a very small lineup. We paid Facu to come over from Spain. No offense to him, man. He hustles, but he's 5'11". He is a rookie who's 29 years old with rookie problems still. He's going to grow into learning how to play in this league, and then he's going to be over the hill. We got RJ Hampton. He's shown flashes. He is 20 years old. He's definitely rookie problems also, but he's got potential. We need length, man. Jokic is the only big, and he is not a rim protector. He is not a defensive stopper. He plays the lanes well. He moves his feet well and plays the pick and roll. But, I mean, we need to figure out a way to get length.
What about Paul Millsap? Agree with bringing him back? This is a big contract.
It is a big contract, and it sucks. We're Denver Nuggets. We offered Jeremy Grant $60 million to come back and play and compete for a championship, and he took $60 million to go suck with the Pistons. So, I mean, if you're gonna throw something at what Denver Nuggets fans have to put up with, you have to look at that situation. We literally matched the contract. He literally had a chance to be on a championship contender team, and he would have made us that much better. But he chose the Pistons.
Do you think... I feel like the Denver sports across the board, it's like no one wants to play here. It's like the weirdest thing to me. It's super frustrating. It's a great city. We have phenomenal fan bases, but for whatever reason, these athletes are making really unique decisions when it comes to where they play, and it's very hard. And for whatever reason, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, Denver GMs, for whatever reason, like older players. We, for whatever reason, think that, the person who was is the person who's going to be today. And 9 times out of 10, that just doesn't pan out. I feel that this is one of those similar situations with the Nuggets.
Yeah, definitely. I was a huge Carmelo Anthony fan, but I feel like he built us up to where we were almost a destination for NBA players to come and play, and then just shit on us. Like he basically ran the Nuggets name through the ground. He wanted out. He wanted a big market. Said he couldn't brand himself in Denver. He needed somewhere else where he could play, and he went and played for the Knicks. And I mean, it probably hurt his career projectile. He went from being somebody considered to be one of the best players in the league to an afterthought.
I agree. Completely agree. So from a Nugget standpoint, projections. What do you think? Where do you think we're going to finish up? We're what, 7th in the Western Conference right now?
7th in the Western Conference. I mean, it's really tight in the Western Conference. I mean, there's only a couple games separating 4 through 8. Ideally, you would like to have that first round as a home game. Hopefully, fans could come back. Never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. We played pretty well, down 3-1. So as long as we get into the playoffs, I mean, hopefully we get a first round home series. But I mean, as much as I want to say it's our year, we need to make a trade, or I mean, that's the next question. Do we make a trade or do we stay the course? What's your thoughts? Do we?
Right. Well, who are you going to trade for? At the end of the day, I don't. How many players are out there, and is it worth the value? What are you going to have to give up? I personally don't think this year's our year. I just don't think we're mentally tough enough to win the games that we're supposed to win. I mean, look at Washington. We lose 130-128 to a team who's 6-16. Those are problems for me. It's that we just are not mentally tough when we need to be. We don't win the games that we should win. And so do I want to make a trade just to finish, 3rd overall? I mean, for me, it's not worth it.
I mean, Porter, though, is a trade chip. I mean, Jamal Murray.
100. I completely agree.
Do we trade for somebody who's going to be that second star to Jokic? Do we go for Bradley Beal? I mean, Bradley Beal's averaging over 30 points. He's with that Wizards team. He's never been a winner, but I mean, do we wait for potential and waste a year of Jokic, or do we? I think we have to make a splash. Jokic has only got 3 years of prime, 4 years of prime. He's 27 years old. He's gonna have to slow down. You would hope he's LeBron James and can play until he's 52, right. But he's gonna not be this forever.
Right. That's all good topics. We're definitely going to touch on throughout our podcast every single week. But moving on to the Denver Broncos, so you're rocking that Broncos shirt today.
Yes.
It was definitely a rougher year for us this year.
Man.
A lot.
Man,
to put it politely,
talk to any Broncos fan. We're Super Bowl contenders every single year until we start playing for the last 5 years. It's awful.
It's been a rough 5 seasons. I feel we are in a position now where we have a window of 3 years. We have a 3-year window that we can go out and do what we did in 2012, 13, 14, 15 and really have a shot, but we're missing one piece, and in my opinion, that's a quarterback.
So you're talking directly to the new GM. What do you tell him to do?
I tell him this, really. I say you give up a first round in 2020, you give up a first round in 2021, you package Von Miller, and this next name is gonna sound absolutely crazy, but you package Justin Simmons too. If you're gonna go get Deshaun Watson, a franchise quarterback who's literally the only missing piece, then you have to do it. It's worth it at the end of the day.
You traded our pieces, and now we're missing pieces now. I mean, come on.
I'm not saying we're not.
You're trading first-round picks. Deshaun Watson didn't win in Houston. He didn't win in Houston. Why is he going to win in Denver?
did Deshaun Watson's outside of DeAndre Hopkins? Did Deshaun Watson have weapons? The answer is no. He did not.
What's his weapons out here? Cortland Sutton, and he's coming off an ACL injury.
You have Cortland Sutton. You have Jerry Jeudy. You have Hamler. You have Vance.
Butterfinger Judy.
All I'm saying, yes, look, he's very similar to Dropsy. I'm not going to say he's very similar to Demaryius Thomas. I am not debating or disagreeing with you on that one.
However, give him a break because it was a rookie year. There was no training camp, but he's got to show me something. He's got to show me.
I'm not saying that he doesn't, but for whatever reason, Melvin Gordon came out, had a phenomenal year for being, from a 2-year contract.
Melvin Gordon.
All I'm saying, the Broncos have the offensive pieces to really make a run. One, it's young. They're a very young team. They're all on rookie contracts for the most part. So from a cap space, you can go make a splash and spend $38-39 million on a quarterback. That's fine. And you're not going to break your team because nine out of 10 players on your offense are on rookie contracts. Yeah. Your offensive line is getting shored up. Garrett Bowles looked like a completely different player this year than he has in years past. And I've not been a supporter of Garrett Bowles. I think he's Mr. Holding, but at the end of the day, our offensive line is a lot better than Houston's offensive line. It's a lot better than Seattle's offensive line.
Okay.
But it's
with Seattle, though, Russell Wilson might be cheaper. He might be cheaper to go and get. Would you rather have Deshaun Watson for longer or a proven winner like Russell Wilson?
I would rather have Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
For longer. It's a quarterbacks. Let's look. We just had Tom Brady win his 7th Super Bowl out of 10 times going, and with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like no one thought if Tom Brady ask me this or answer this question, would Tampa Bay have won the Super Bowl if Tom Brady wasn't their quarterback?
Nah, I think they would have won if Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback.
I'm not. So Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Peyton Manning in his prime, Russell Wilson.
Tom Brady is
from a quarterback standpoint. It matters. It matters.
You look at the teams that have won for the last 20 years. The Patriots, they're consistently with Tom Brady. The Colts when Manning was there. The Broncos when Manning was there. Literally, the Super Bowl is picked by the best quarterback year in and year out. I get that, but is Drew Lock? Is he done? Second year, he's only played 17, 18 games. He's had 2 offensive coordinators, 1 off season. I mean, this year was kind of screwy for him.
For Drew Lock, I think the question that is in my mind is he smart enough to run an NFL offense? Not taking away from his likability. I'm not taking away from his character. I'm just asking the question, and I don't know the answer. Is he as cerebral as a Aaron Rodgers, as a Peyton Manning, as a Tom Brady, as a Drew Brees? And can he effectively manage the offense? And I think it's a big question mark, and why he struggles so much in our offense, because I just don't think he is.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I haven't seen enough flashes from Drew Lock to be sold, but I mean, look at Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen was not good year 1. He was okay in year 2, and year 3 he was MVP. He was MVP candidate.
Man, don't get me started on Josh Allen.
I mean, we can both agree that it doesn't matter how many draft picks we send their way, as long as John Elway has anything to do with the drafting, they're worthless. So if it
costs... absolutely. Well, I mean, what? There's one year, 2016, 2015, something like that, where our draft was every single person we drafted in 2016 or 2017, they're no longer on our team.
Yeah,
you have that happen as a GM.
It's happened more than once. It's like
in any sport.
It's happened like 2 times. Like 2 years later, you only have 1 player from an 8-man draft class, and the only player to make the Pro Bowl, and I might be wrong, that was drafted during his tenure is Von Miller, and he came in really like a week before that draft, so it wasn't even really his pick.
And I mean, you can look at Justin Simmons now and Bradley Chubb both being drafted by the Broncos and being Pro Bowl.
Yep.
So speaking of Justin Simmons, though, do you franchise tag it 1 more year, or what's holding up the Broncos from signing him to a 4 or 5 year deal?
If they trade for Deshaun Watson, our quarterback, they need to figure out a way to keep Justin Simmons because he is the best player on that defense now. I love Von Miller, but he hasn't played now. It'll be 2 years. He wasn't that great his last year. He was banged up and wasn't that great. He missed this whole year. Justin Simmons is now the heart of that defense. So if you package him to get a quarterback, that defense is missing an anchor. I don't think Bradley Chubb's that guy.
do you go get either a safety in the draft? Do you trade for a safety like a Harrison out of Minnesota?
I mean, we have a good pick this year, unless we trade it. So, I personally would keep Simmons. I think he's going to be expensive, but sadly, I think signs are pointing to Von Miller being a cut casualty. I don't want to see him go. I think he is the Denver Broncos defense. He's the last link to that Super Bowl. I don't want to see him go. I'd rather pay him $20 million to be a DeMarcus Ware type player than see him go be a DeMarcus Ware type player for somebody else next year.
I agree. Okay. Moving on. Colorado Rockies, our favorite team of all time here in Denver.
I'll let you, you're supporting the Rockies. I'll let you start. I mean, I have so many built up aggressions towards the Colorado Rockies over the last 25, 30 years of them being a franchise.
It's the most frustrating team I have ever been a fan of by far. Do I give them credit from a business side? 100%. I think the Monforts are geniuses when it comes to being business owners, but from putting a winning championship team on the field, it's painful every single year. Did we get lucky in 2007? 100% we got lucky.
We caught fire. I mean, everybody was clicking. Every game came down to the last at bat. It was insane.
Well, we were like, what, 20? We won 21 of 22 to even get into the playoffs, and then you beat the Padres in like 15 innings.
And honestly, I think the only reason we didn't win that World Series is because that long break in between the NL.
There was a 9-day layoff because
they ran through the whole playoffs. They just won everything. It was crazy.
Boston was playing Cleveland down 3-1 and made a run, won 4 games in a row. Then they came in as hot as possible. I know the Rockies went down to Arizona just for spring training practice or fall training practice, but it's just not the same. Definitely ran into the buzzsaw of the Sox. But
touching on the Rockies, I'm going to ask you this: did we win or lose the Arenado trade?
Oh, we lost. It was not even close. It's not even close. I've told so many people that was the worst decision that we've ever made. And here's the thing, I'm putting it above the Ian Desmond signing, and that still, I think,
it goes
absolutely garbage.
It goes back to like Brett Saberhagen and Mike Hampton and those
guys. Exactly. Even Jason Giambi was a question mark for me.
Danny Norville and his sexual habits. I mean, come on.
Yep. DJ LeMahieu, sending him to the Yankees for $3 million. Less than what we wanted to pay for him because we thought, we had this weird next man up mentality that I think works in pee-wee football and high school football and maybe even college. But you get into the pros, it's a completely different ball game. He's the only player in MLB history to win a batting title for both leagues.
Yeah.
The only player to ever do it. But yet we thought that, Garrett Hampson was going to be the key coming up. It's ridiculous.
Who's the guy we signed for $10 million? Murphy?
Yeah, Daniel Murphy.
We gave him the same contract that LeMahieu got to go play for the Yankees right after they didn't sign LeMahieu. It was like, really, come on. The thing that I really enjoyed about watching LeMahieu go, though, was I can't stand people talking about thin air and hitters. I just can't stand it. Like, literally, the stupidest argument to me is thin air and the Colorado hitters. Oh, the home road splits. The Rockies play against the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants for like 70% of their road games. Those are 3 of the toughest hitting parks. Yeah, the 3 of the toughest hitting parks in entire baseball.
Correct.
So of course they're going to be split. And then on top of that, you're getting used to balls moving a certain way at altitude versus balls moving a different way at sea level. There's adjustments to all that. So
yeah, completely agree. Funny story about DJ LeMahieu. So we're at a game, and my mom, who's a teacher, by the way, she made a sign and she wanted it to say like "re-sign DJ."
Okay.
And always like turn it around and hold it up to the owner's box to make sure that
I don't think Mumfords can read. They can't read.
They can Charlie's. But the problem is that she put resign instead of resign. And so
so maybe
the whole stadium
maybe
and the whole, like, you know, the section around us, like, why do you want DJ to quit? And so it was super funny that my mom forgot the dash on the resign, being that she's a teacher, but, you know, super funny from a DJ Lemeju standpoint. But from a Nolan Arenado standpoint, we lost that big time.
Why is that?
Paying the Cardinals $50 million to take a player away from us to play against us, mind you, because we will play them this season, and then
his whole salary this year.
Correct, and to get a bucket of baseballs, 6 bags of Big League Chew, and some sunflower seeds in return for Arenado.
One of the prospects that they got, I saw, was like hitting a 177 in Double-A last year. How is that a prospect for Arenado? I mean, literally, the other two weren't even in Single-A, I don't even think. But it'd be one thing if that's what we got and got rid of the contract.
Correct.
If they're trying to save money, I get it. But come on, how do you pay the man to go away? Not even like $5 million a year. $50 million.
Yep, it's like the movie Moneyball, when Brad Pitt's talking to David Justice's character, and he's just like, you know, he's like, the Yankees are paying $7 million to play against them, and so that's where it's like very similar situation, except the Rockies are paying 50. Right. And so it's a really unique situation with them.
I can't understand them, because it's like they want low contract players. They want to save money. They want to build revenue. You said it right. They're good businessmen. They have built Coors Field to be a fun hangout place. And until us as fans say, screw it, I'm done. # boycott Blake Street. It doesn't matter. David Dahl, 2 years left of team control, would have been a very cheap player. He has all-star level capabilities. He was good when he's healthy. He hits 300. He's going to hit 20 home runs. They let him go. They didn't even sign him. It would have been $2.5 million to play center field. So who's their center fielder?
Well, thank God it's not Ian Desmond.
Oh God!
When he announced that he was gonna. When he announced that he was going to, opt out for the second year, I felt like, weight was lifted off my shoulders when it comes to the Rockies, because to pay a guy $20 million to hit 240 or 220 home runs and 45 RBIs is absolutely ridiculous. Bad timing with him. And like we talked about earlier, from an old player standpoint, the Rockies are the kings of hiring or signing old players who performed at one point in their career, who were great, but just don't anymore.
No, we don't develop our players. Who's the shortstop that's been in the farm league forever? Rogers. Where's he at, man? He's been supposedly ready for the big leagues for the last 2.5 years.
To be honest, I thought he was going to be our second baseman. Once we traded away Jay.
That was I thought the plan was to put him at second base.
Yep, but Garrett Hampton came through, and then you had a split time between Daniel Murphy, who sometimes rotated over to play second. It's going to be a really interesting situation. I mean, what do you think they're going to do with Trevor Story? I mean, he's the last remaining piece of a halfway decent infield.
What do I think they're going to do, or what should they do? Because I think they're going to sign him to a giant contract.
Yeah, what do you think they're going to do?
I mean, they're going to sign him to a giant contract. They're going to trade him the year after and pay for that contract and get a couple pebbles back. That's what they're probably going to do. They should just blow it up. I mean, he's got a good contract. A team can sign him to their terms, get some top 100 prospects for him. Get Blackman off the books. Whatever you could get for Blackman, he's still going to be somewhat valuable to somebody contending. But they're not valuable for where we're at. I mean, come on. We need to be young. We need to retool. But, I mean, Story's not a part of the big picture, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, and we're in the perfect, as crazy as this sounds, I feel like we're in the perfect situation to blow it up. The expectations of the Rockies this year are as low as probably they've ever been. I think is, in my opinion, is plus or minus 43 wins, 119 losses. So you really have nothing to lose at this point, because everyone in baseball except the Orioles have a greater chance of making the World Series in winning it all than the Rockies do. And so, yeah, to your point, you have to dump Blackmon, being that he's the worst outfielder in baseball, and Trevor Story, who has a ton of potential, who you could end up getting, halfway decent prospects for, and really looking forward to 2022, 23, 24.
He's got 30-plus home run power. He's Gold Glove shortstop. He's young. I mean,
he steals bases like there's no tomorrow.
In saying that, they had a 30-plus home run guy who won Gold Gloves, who they got jack shit for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know how the shortstop trades go for the Rockies.
It's crazy to think that your left side of your infield is averaging, call it 75 home runs a year, 300 RBIs. They're batting a collective, 315, 316, and Gold Gloves for days.
Yeah.
Arenado's 7, 8 in a row. Yeah. Trevor Story's 2. And Trevor Story would have won Rookie of the Year hadn't he broke his wrist.
Yeah. How do you not put a winning team around those two guys?
Correct. It all comes down to pitching, and what the GM of the Rockies. He's a data guy. He's an analytics guy. He looks at numbers like there's no tomorrow, and he tries to play money ball. And we've learned time and time again that it doesn't work. No. You have to go get some elite talent. I mean, look at the Dodgers. I hate talking about the Dodgers. They're literally it boils my blood. But at least at the end of the day, they go put a winning team on the field. I mean, look at Trevor Bauer. You're going to go sign the best pitcher in baseball to come be on your team, which is your rotation's already top 2 in the league to begin with.
And sadly, it's not even a money thing, because 50,000 people would be in that stadium every single day if they were winning. They would be spending
100%.
money. They would be spending money. They would be buying their beers. They would be buying their peanuts and hot dogs, and they would be there every single day. So, I mean, but the risk is there. If you're not winning, then the seats are empty and you're not paying it. So they know that 30,000 people are going to be there every day, no matter what they spend on this team or what product they put out on the field. And
that's the crappiest part. It honestly is. We could win 100 games or lose 100 games, and we're still going to be top 5, top 6 in attendance every year, because Denver's such a melting pot of people that, as fans, when you and I go to games and we're going to go to a Dodgers game or a Braves game or a Cubs game, we go to watch the Dodgers and the Braves and the Cubs. We don't go to watch the Rockies play, because nine times out of 10 we already know the outcome of the game at the end of the day. But if you have the chance to go watch a Clayton Kershaw pitch or a Trevor Bauer pitch or Acuna Jr. from Atlanta just play, it's fun to see these guys. When the Angels come and you watch Mike Trout that you don't get to see, every year like normal. It's fun. And so the Rockies, from a business standpoint, have done a phenomenal job creating an environment where it's just a fun, atmosphere and place to go watch a game. The weather in Denver in summer doesn't hurt.
No.
From that. It's not humid, and it's 85 degrees and sunny. And so it's a great stadium, and it's a great place to watch a game. I just wish that at the end of the day we had a better team.
Yeah. I mean, the only way to do that is to not go to the games. I mean,
correct.
Speaking of not going to the games, our next topic are the Avalanche, and we can't even see the games.
That's rough. Being how good the Avalanche are and the potential that they have, not being able to watch the team play, I wonder what long-term effect that has on overall fans.
And the sad thing is Bolin is obviously not the owner. He passed away, sadly. He was the cream of the crop owners in Colorado. But Kroenke, man, he's the man. He has put together teams for budgets in cities that players don't want to come to, and he's done it year in and year out. He's rebuilt the Nuggets, he's rebuilt the Avalanche. They're killing it with Kroenke Sports. But yeah, I mean, eventually, if you can't watch them play, you can't be a fan.
Could you imagine not being able to watch the Rams in LA next year or at all, being that you're bringing a team to LA? So that's the craziest thing to me. Like, he would never do that with the Los Angeles Rams at all, ever. But yet feels it's okay to have this weird battle with, Comcast and, DirecTV and Dish with altitude, where you're not able to watch truly a championship team play. The Avalanche are fun to watch. They're incredibly young. They're incredibly talented.
They are really fast.
They're extremely fast. It's like watching the 1996, 1997, and 2001 Avalanche play again. You have
this Avalanche team might have more talent than the Sakic Forsberg Stanley Cup teams. They're that.
I
talented.
completely agree. Yeah, Nathan McKinnon is literally Peter Forsberg reincarnated, but faster.
But fast, yeah.
The guy doesn't get hit. He's at the right place at the right time, and truly is a one of a kind player. And then with Landeskog, with Gerard, with Cale Makar, who's arguably the best defensive player in hockey.
He's probably the best PowerPoint point man on the blue line. He's just insane the way he runs the power play.
Correct. And so and then with Philip Grubauer, our goalie right now, he's hotter than I would say every goalie in the league right now. 9 wins, 1.67 goals against average, is 94% save percentage. Yeah. He's top 2, top 3 in the league in everything, in every category, and who's just firing at all cylinders. Now, do I think it's going to last all season? I hope. But at the end of the day, I think that the five games that were postponed due to COVID had a little bit of a hiccup for the Avs. Like, they had to get their groove back. They played well yesterday against the Knights. The problem being with that game is
you mean when
our outdoor game worth it?
The 12-hour game?
The 12-hour game was like, is it really worth it at the end of the day?
Absolutely
Is it picturesque?
Absolutely.
Sure. With Lake Tahoe looking really pretty in the afternoon, I'll give it credit. But with the ice melting and it just looked like a huge safety hazard just for the NHL to get some sort of
right. For what? What is the reasoning behind it? There's
rating boost. Who knows?
Well, we can't see the games.
At least that one you can watch. But it's hard to not be able to watch that team play. Even the Nuggets, for that matter. But the Avalanche are in a better position to win the Stanley Cup. They're the perennial favorites. Going into the season. It's just not right from a point.
Are we underachieving are the Avalanche underachieving right now? Do you feel just as slow?
I don't think we are. I think with our record being 9-4, we're third in the West right now. But we're also missing 5 games, so I think there's we would be in first or at least tied with those games that were postponed. It's going to be challenging when they have to make them up, squeezing them in to spots that they shouldn't be playing. They're going to shorten those windows of rest time. Yeah. But I think being that the Avalanche are as young as they are, they're going to be able to take advantage of that versus some of these older lineups that they're going to have to go against.
The COVID scheduling that the NHL did was kind of cool because this Golden Knights series is actually it's a Western Conference Finals preview potentially. I mean, 4 games in a row, 2 of the top teams in the Western Conference. You really get to see who's better because you have time to adjust. It's just like a playoff series. So, I mean, in all of that, this scheduling thing has been pretty interesting.
Yeah, perfect.
So, I mean, we touched on a lot of stuff. Our normal stuff will be weekly updates on everything, but we're just excited to, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm excited to get this going.
Me too. It's going to be fun. It allows us to kind of just get whatever is off our chest, kind of talk through whatever. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, we're not going to agree on everything that we talk about. So we both have some pretty strong personalities when it comes to Denver sports. But at the end of the day, this is a great opportunity for us to talk through some things and then, bring guests on. It's going to be fun to bring our friends and different people around the Denver metro area to talk through their thoughts and feelings on sports and kind of what's going on. But it's definitely a fun experience, and we're looking forward to it.
So we just started our Instagram. We are at Armchair QBS _MHE. Follow
Mile High Edition.
Mile High Edition. Only Mile High Sports. We're pretty funny on there. We're going to get better at it. But we're just 2 old guys trying to figure out Instagram.
Exactly. I mean, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook weren't around when we were kids. So I'm trying to I just learned what Control-Alt-Delete meant. So I'm on my way.
We're behind a little bit, just a little. But, yeah. So thanks for watching. And if you didn't watch, we understand. But you'll be sorry if you don't go back and rewatch.
I agree. Until next time.
Oh, Mile
High
Salute, baby.
Mile High Salute.